Grand Rising family. I'm out here surviving these end days with this horrible rainstorm that is afflicting California. They always love to look at these events and sensationalize them and make them seem like they're way worse than they are, because they're trying to fake everything to make it seem as if this is what prophecy is all about. These events, these that are going on right now. But this is a great day for real end times fulfillment. Today is a great day because we have Mercury conjuncting Pluto. Today is a great day for depth and intensity is added to one's thinking and communication. You're right. It's a great day to get to the bottom of troubling issues. So be open to the spirit today to be in deeper thought about getting understanding and clarification on deeper issues. We're going to get on one deep issue to start this off today. I have like a piece of paper, just kind of write things down as the spirit brings me information. Suggest you do the same thing. See what the Most High has for you today. Use these stars and these energies for our people. It's time for us to use these energies for our people, as it was ordained in the beginning anyways. That is another huge, event, huge understanding that we had lost. And they've been using these energies for their benefit, but now it's time for us to use them for ours. Now, something that happened to me last month or so was that my father got some information, some history about our family. And this history was already told to me before we got this confirmation. I already realized that I was already here. We were already here. These are our lands. Well, he came across some information. It was just the luck of the draw how this all worked out. But it was left at his doorstep. And it was information that showed that some of my ancestors were sold as slaves. But they were identified as full-blooded native. So it was just confirmation of what the Most High has already told me, and we got to learn how to listen to the spirit, and then also this video I'm going to share with you comes across and just explains exactly what they've done. They know who we are. They know whose land this is, and they know about our power going to restore these lands back to us. But it was just beautiful to see how the Most High just went ahead and approved, gave me all of the proof that I needed to just, already give me the proof that, hey, what I'm already showing you in the spirit, I'm going to confirm to you here in this plane. Okay? So yes, I have some family members that were sold as slaves, and they were designated as 100% native. Now we're going to show you a quick video about how they knew who we were, and what the whole plan was. They knew who we were. Then, we started living a different way, trying to conform to their lifestyles here, the European lifestyle. And as we did that, we ceased being natives, and then we were converted into being black, people of color, Negroes, African American. And then they said there was none of our people for a very long time. And then later on, they rewrite history books and said, oh, well, there's 1,000 of these people here. But now all of a sudden, now they look like these Mongolians or these people who come over from other nations. All of a sudden, now we found them. We didn't know where they were back then in the 1800s, but now in the 1900s, we know exactly who they are. Just showing you how they have lied about everything. And this is a great day for us to bring out this information, be still and listen to the Most High, and listen to what he wants to show us, and listen to what the Holy Spirit and what she, has been ordained to show us. Listen to our ancestors. Listen to our angels. Check out this video.
And all the other native tribes, we know their story, don't we? Of course we do, because the history books tell us that when the English settlers came here, they brought with them epidemics, and there was a vicious, nasty war, and more epidemics, and wiped clean the landscape of the native peoples here. That's what the history books say. Matter of fact, in 1822, the Secretary of War received a report on Indian affairs that stated that the Indian communities in New England were just a few feeble remnants teetering on the brink of extinction. That's what the history books tell us. Well, my friends, I'm going to suggest to you that the history books are wrong. They don't tell us the story of the native peoples here. And it's a much larger story and one we need to know about. And I want you to focus on one concept. He who writes the history controls the history. You're probably wondering why two rangers in national park service are sitting in the middle of the woods with books. We have to remember, we're readers of history. We're looking for new ideas, new concepts, new ways of understanding. And sometimes sitting out here with Mother Nature is the best way to come to those revelations. Now, I'm with my good friend and ranger colleague, Dan Mahart. And Dan has been doing some research here on the communities in the Blackstone Valley and how they treated or listed the natives, the Native Americans here. And Dan, what have you come up with?
Well, I got out of our park library 3 county histories, or 3 local histories. This is the history of Worcester County, written in 1879. This is history of Grafton, also written in the 19th century. And this is a 20th century history, history of Upton. And so I just looked in there for you, Chuck. I looked up Nipmuc people and wanted to see what they said. So this is Frederick Pierce's book from 1879, A History of Grafton. And in here he says that the Nipmuc people over the last 2 centuries have vanished. So totally disappeared, according to Frederick Pierce. But I was looking at a census that was done in 1992 that said that living in Worcester County now, there are 1,400 Nipmuc people. So I was a little surprised. Why does it say they vanished here? And yet nowadays we have 1,400.
That's even more amazing when you consider the town of Grafton has the Nipmuc Reservation there that has Nabisco.
Right.
And that is a centerpiece of Nipmuc culture. It has been for decades, centuries.
Right.
So why would they say that those people no longer existed?
Well, that's a tough question because, like you said, Frederick Pierce obviously knew his neighbors, and he knew the people living at the reservation there. And why he decided to not call them Nipmuc people is really interesting. I think it has something to do with Frederick Pierce and other people's attitude at that time, in the 19th century, their attitude about what an Indian was. And for them, what an Indian was somebody who lived out in the forest, who lived maybe in a little teepee or a weetu someplace, who mainly lived by hunting or making baskets. And as he looked around at his neighbors at Hasnamisco, he saw them as barbers, stone workers, factory workers, shoemakers, and he said, well, these people aren't living the way I think Indians live, so therefore I'm not going to call them Indians. I'm just going to assume that they vanished. And I think that's why in these local histories you don't find descriptions of native people as they're living, as shoemakers. They're not being described as native and factory workers.
Because that would go against our romanticized view of the Indian.
Right, they're not living in the forest, so therefore they're not Indian according to these folks.
It must be very difficult for people to overcome that kind of stereotype. The only way you can be an Indian or Indian is to be out in the woods. Where how are you going to make a living and fit into society?
Right, so for Nipmuc people, this must have been particularly a difficult time to live, because here you have a bunch of people in the dominant culture, the white culture, let's say, saying, you've all vanished. You're no longer Nipmuc people. And you have Nipmuc people saying, well, I consider myself a Nipmuc person. I have a family heritage, I have a set of beliefs, and I have a community that I live with that, for me, is distinctly Nipmuc. At the same time, you have the white culture saying, no, you're shoemakers now. And more importantly, you're a person of color. You're no longer a Nipmuc person. And that shows through in these county histories and also in the census records at the time. You find a person described in the 1860 census as an Indian. In the 1870 census, they're described as a person of color or a colored person. Same person, but the census taker, as part of the white dominant society, decides that this person is no longer Nipmuc.
This is prophecy fulfilled. 1 Peter 2:9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him, okay, who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Revelation, end times, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of the Most High, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. We were going to be discontinued from our heritage. This is why all these prophecies that they're trying to fake and whatever else are not coming to pass. It's all scripted, because the true prophecies and the true fulfillment of these prophecies of us losing our heritage and then being awakened at the end is what is everyone is really looking at. And they know that we are the time clock. So again, be open to the Spirit today to help you get to the bottom of troubling issues. And they're going to try to make it seem about the issues of this life, but these troubling issues of who you are and whose you are. Shalom.